Hi, I'm your host Candace, and welcome back to Casual Bites, a podcast where we take small bites out of big thoughts. Casual Bites is streaming on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, with full video episodes on Spotify and YouTube. Good morning, how are we doing? Or good afternoon, whatever time you're listening to this. I'm kind of late on recording this episode. I've been procrastinating for the past week, just doing some other stuff. A little update on my leg. It's been doing a lot better. I've been going to PT. I'm seeing my surgeon this Friday for, I think it's like a 4-week, 5-week checkup, and I think I can get my brace unlocked now. So that'll be huge for PT wise in terms of just doing other exercises where I can bear some weight on a bent knee. So I'm really excited for that. Getting into the episode today, let me paint you a picture. Your alarm wakes you up at 9 in the morning. The sun is coming through the windows, blinding you, but you decide to stay wrapped in your warm, soft blanket, hitting the snooze button to sleep in just a little longer. You're overwhelmed, you're anxious about what's to come, and you want to prolong the start of another draining day. Sound familiar? Yeah, it has happened to me so many times before, and we often hear that mornings are hard. But I think that we can take a few small steps to get the day rolling, for you to get out of your bed, for you to be more excited of your day. And it's also not hard to find something stable, reliable, and tailored to you. Today we're going to be talking about morning routines. I kind of thought about this topic over the past couple of weeks after trying around different morning routines and trying to get into the hang of things post-grad, but then having all of that progress be derailed from just not being able to do simple things very quickly. And it really affected my mood and it affected my day-to-day life. I found myself being more depressed. I didn't want to leave bed. I would wake up at 2 or 3 p.m. It just made me feel a lot less happy with myself. Whenever I woke up, I'd feel groggy. I wouldn't want to do anything. And then my whole day was wasted. And then it'd just be a whole nother cycle of me waking up late, going to bed late, and blah, blah, blah. But after a lot of trial and error, I have found that it's really not hard to create a stable and reliable morning routine that's specifically tailored to you. But it definitely takes a lot of time. And since people have different needs and urgencies and resources, it looks different from person to person. But my favorite way of being able to kind of get into that type of routine is just straight up romanticizing it. You romanticize waking up, making your bed, you'll open your blinds and you'll be in a little princess movie and the birds are chirping, or if it's a rainy day and it's calm and it's cold and you get a hot cup of coffee or some hot chocolate if it's snow. You know what I'm saying? Just making every little thing very romanticized so that it allows you to look forward to the rest of your day. But let's start off with why morning routines are important. There have been studies done that morning routines help reduce your stress. It prevents decision fatigue, which essentially is just where you're so overwhelmed with a bunch of things that you have to do that you end up just doing nothing, right? So having a nice routine set for you allows you to be okay, I need to do 1, 2, 3, and in this order. And it helps your brain not overthink, especially in the mornings when it's just woken up. It just also helps you build momentum for the rest of the day. And by following a set of predictable habits, you're able to take control of your time instead of reacting to outside chaos, which helps your focus, energy, and overall mental well-being. Also, I found out that late morning is the best for cognitive work because it's when the brain is at its peak performance. So it's really, really, really important to have a good start to your day. And for most people, that time frame is between 1 to 4 hours after waking up, which is typically between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. So yeah, when you're waking up for work and you wake up at 7 a.m., it's usually 10 or 11 a.m. because you have if you start at 9, you have an hour to kind of get settled in, and then you're really locked in and wired. Have you ever noticed that? I think it's something that I've only noticed after learning about this, but fun fact. Anyways, like I said, I've recently been trying to wake up a lot earlier because I've also just been finding myself to feel really groggy with no motivation when I wake up later. And because of that, it's kind of forced me to start going to sleep earlier. Um, and I think it's especially hard too when you're at school because you kind of want to do a little bit of everything, like, and you gotta sometimes cram for your studies. Things might get a little dragged on, which is totally okay, but now that I have the time to kind of focus on my sleep, especially since sleep is so important for recovery and just overall like body function. I've been trying to make myself go to bed at like, this sucks to say, but like 9 p.m. And it's honestly, I like tell myself that I need to go to bed at 9 p.m. So I go to bed around like 11. Does that like make sense? Because if I don't like start getting my ass up and like starting to do my nightly routine, then it gets just dragged for so long because sometimes I journal at night or I will do some scrolling or I'll watch like a show or a movie at night. And that's like part of my routine. So if I don't tell myself that I need to go to sleep earlier, then it's just not gonna happen. Like I'm gonna end up going back to sleep at like 3 a.m. Um, but yeah, like my cutoff right now, I've been like really trying to get myself to like go to bed at 12, like latest. I don't know. I think I still kind of have to work on it because when I say go to bed, it just means like completely like put my phone down. But I heard that, or I read somewhere that sometimes people prolong their sleep because like the nighttime is like kind of like an escape. And I think I can relate to that, especially when I'm like mentally kind of sad. The night is essentially like an escape where I can just doom scroll for hours and I'm not going to think that like time is really passing because I'm not really doing anything except for staying in bed and like doom scrolling. But going off topic, in order to kind of help me wake up earlier, I used to have a bunch of alarms. Um, and like I'm sure everyone does too, like staggering at like different amounts of like minutes or whatever. But yeah, I would have five main alarms with different alarm sounds that I would switch up all the time because I feel like I just get used to them. But yeah, now I've been using my Alexa more often. I kind of set a routine on her, and part of that is to play one of my morning Spotify playlists. I don't know, I've been like trying to get used to it so that I kind of wake up to music instead of just an alarm. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but if you get it, you know what I'm saying. Um, and I've been doing it for the past couple days, but I just feel like when I'm really tired, I just honestly like will wake up and I'll go back to sleep. And I also have been intentionally leaving my blinds more open so that sunlight comes in and I am forced to wake up. But I've noticed that I don't really wake up. I'll know that things are happening around me and I'll just force myself to go back to sleep because I'm tired. And I don't really know how to help with that. Um except for like mentally preparing myself the night before. Like before I go to bed and like completely like try to fall asleep, I'll tell myself that I have things for 9 a.m. in the morning and that's like how I'll make my body like actually get up in the morning. It also like varies from like day to day, like on how tired I am and like how mentally strong I am that day. But essentially like that's what I tell myself to get myself up in the morning. But moving on, I wanted to share my morning routine to see if it helps some people with getting up in the day and maybe just some other ideas. Even though it's not really anything special or intricate, it's just something that's been working for me and something that I actually do look forward to every single morning. And it really does help me get out of bed even when I really don't want to. But when I wake up, the first thing I do is grab my phone, which I know is bad. And I know you're supposed to kind of not do that. And you're supposed to look outside or look at nature or do something. But I kind of take this time to look at notifications or look at emails or just to see if anything important has popped up. Recently, I've been really trying to not grab my phone the first thing in the morning. And I've also been noticing that my head does hurt sometimes when I look at my phone the first thing in the morning because I'm just like, holy shit, like it's completely just like I'm just looking at a screen and it hurts my head. After I am done checking my notifications, I'll get up and I'll open up all my blinds. And I also do it to just kind of gauge the weather for the day. But yeah, and that takes like maybe less than 3 minutes of my morning, right? So then I make my way to the bathroom, and I found that I drag my time out the most when I'm in my bathroom. And it's just because like I have my phone with me and I haven't even fully woken up, right? So I'm mindlessly scrolling while I'm brushing my teeth above my sink, and I just kind of get lost in the sauce. And after I'm done brushing my teeth, I'll maybe stay on my phone and I'm looking at my phone, and then I forget to wash my face. And then once I finally like get to me washing my face, it's been like 20 minutes. So I think that's something that I've been trying to really focus on more for my morning routine, is just to really focus at the task at hand, because especially with social media now, it's so hard to kind of get swept away, and everyone's always multitasking now, whether it's like listening to music while doing something or watching something while doing something. And I've been really trying to tell myself to just leave my phone at my bed when I'm doing my morning routine, especially when like I'm on a time crunch, because it just really helps me get things down. After I'm done like washing my face, brushing my teeth, using the bathroom and all that stuff, I go back to my room and I go to my vanity where I do all my skincare. I'll usually do makeup if I have things planned for the rest of the day, like if it's something social or if I'm recording. But from time to time, if I'm just staying at home, I will put on some makeup, because you know that mentality where it's like look good, feel good, and then you'll do good. Yeah, so whenever I'm feeling like really down, I'll put on some makeup, I'll do my hair just so that I feel a little bit more put together. And it also just gives me like a boost of motivation to go along with my day. And after I do like my whole like face skincare routine, I'll make my bed. And the reason why I don't do it a lot in the mornings, like right after I wake up, is honestly because I'm just trying to go to the bathroom and do all that stuff before I can really focus on anything else. In my head, like that's my number one priority. But I know people that wake up and they make their bed right away just to get it out of the way. And honestly, making your bed, I think, is such a small little first step if you're struggling with making a routine in the morning, especially if you're on like time crunches and stuff. I think it's really important to just build that in, because it helps gives you discipline and it helps build stability, right? But after doing that, I usually change. I'll pick an outfit, whether it's just like a comfy one or just like a more dressy up one if I'm doing more errands or hanging out with people that day. Mainly just to get out of my pajamas. I think being able to separate sleep and like comfortability with work and productivity is really important, especially now since so many people either work hybrid or completely remote. It's so easy just to work in bed and do stuff in bed, but being able to have a distinct section for work and for rest is really, really crucial, especially for your mental. I found that when I merge the two together, my productivity for my work drops, my quality of work drops, and my ability to focus decreases, because for me, like I'm in my comfortable zone, I'm in my relaxation zone. It might be harder for people who might work in their room, but I think that also just takes a lot of discipline and a lot of practice, a lot of time for you to just get adjusted and get used to it. But having that mindset and that mentality is really important. After changing and getting dressed, I head to the kitchen, and I really, really, really enjoy this part of my mornings, just a change of scenery. And I feel like this is where I'm like, okay, like I'm really starting my day. So, first thing I do is I'll make my coffee, and while my coffee is kind of brewing or whatever, I will fill up my water bottle, I will take my vitamins, and I'll also kind of think about what I want to eat for breakfast to kind of mentally prepare the steps that I need to do. Also, I found out that research shows that eating breakfast helps your body actually wake up, and people who eat breakfast in the morning actually have more energy than those that wait until lunch. Personally, I've always struggled with eating breakfast in the morning, whether it's just because I was uneducated and thought that eating less would help me lose weight, or because I would get busy and not really know what to make, or just because I didn't have time, especially if I woke up late and I'm rushing to class or I'm rushing to work. Side note, I found that a lot of bad habits are usually consequences of another bad habit, which sounds so easy when you say it out loud, but when you're in the moment and you sleep in a little bit, maybe it's like a 5-10 minutes, that's taking like 5-10 minutes out of your breakfast time, right? And that 5-10 minutes of eating your breakfast could make or break your day. It could make or break your energy levels. It could affect your health, it could affect your mood and your mental. So, just seeing little things and adding them up to see a bigger picture has been something that I've been realizing and focusing a lot more recently. Just wanted to share that little insight. But back to making breakfast, I found out that you really don't need to eat that much in order to get your body going and to get your energy like started. I personally will eat a light sandwich just because it's easy to make. You know, I just toast my bread, I put it in the toaster, I grab out my turkey, my lettuce. Sometimes I'll add tomatoes if I'm in a rush. I won't really do it because I have to cut it up. Or if I know that I'm going to be busy in the mornings, I'll prep it and I'll slice all my tomatoes up. I'll put them in a container so that I can just grab it out. And I don't really calorie count anymore. I kind of focus it more on intuitive eating, but also just focusing on whole foods and making sure that I'm eating things that will fuel my body, because um, I used to just grab like a granola bar and I would eat that as something light, but it just has never really satisfied my stomach, and it hasn't really given me that energy boost that, just a quick sandwich would. Even if it's just bread and ham, or you know, bread and some other protein. It's like very, 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 it's a lot more filling for me, and that's just something that I've been focusing a lot more with breakfast and with just eating in general. I think sandwiches are so easy to evolve or to kind of make a little bougier. Like you could swap out normal toast for sour bread, and you could switch out ham and turkey for salami, or prosciutto and lettuce for arugula, and maybe just cheddar cheese for some mozzarella or like burrata. You can really mix it up, and obviously depending on your budget and the time and your preferences, but having just like a staple morning breakfast is so easy and really helps with kind of, again, that decision fatigue, not really having to think too hard about what you want for breakfast. Now, for me, I like to have different options, right? I don't want to eat the same thing every single day because then it's like I get sick of it. So, for me, sometimes I will do like a yogurt parfait. I'll have my Greek yogurt, I'll cut up some fruits and some granola, some honey on top, or I will eat steamed eggs or any type of egg. Eggs are so easy, so protein packed, so nutritious, and it's something that you really don't have to think about if like you're trying to track your food, if that's something that's important to you. But yeah, everyone says that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and that is so true, especially after you've had it in your routine for so long. you visibly and like you feel the difference. You feel more energized, you feel that your brain is actually able to work in the mornings. And I've kind of done like my kitchen routine so many times that I'm able to multitask. So as soon as I get to the kitchen, I make my coffee, or I'll get that going, and then I'll put my toast in the toaster, and I'll grab out my ingredients from the fridge and lay them out on the counter. And after that, I'll go fill up my water, I'll take my vitamins, and then by that time, my coffee's done, my toast is ready, and I can just assemble my sandwich real quick and drink my coffee, and boom, it takes like 10 minutes max. So, again, like having a solid routine just helps with productivity. It gives you more time to do things that you actually want and need to do during the day. Now, if I'm having more of a slow day, I'll eat my breakfast while I watch a show and really just enjoy my time with my food. Um, but most of the time, I bring it back upstairs to my desk and I'll kind of start mentally planning for the day. So before I start actually working or doing any work, I always plan out my day in like a planner, like physically plan it out and I write it down. But I've always had a planner. I've had a planner since 2019, actually. The other day, I was going through my archives and it's really cute to see how far I've come. And a planner doesn't need to be fancy. Like the one that I use right now, it's from Japan. I mean, it costs a little bit more, the quality is a little bit better, but I started out with like a $2 Muji blank weeks planner. Wait, no, even before that, I started bullet journaling and I would make my little weekly spreads and monthly spreads by myself. But at the time, I was like early high school and I didn't really have much to write in my planners. So I kind of got discouraged at not being able to fill up that empty space. So then I kind of moved on to the blank Muji weekly planners where it just has like 7 grids for the 7 days of the week and they're blank. So you can fill in the month and the days yourself. But I really enjoyed the freedom and flexibility that a blank planner allowed. I found that when I bought like those yearly planners that have all the dates and months written out for you, it like I would just not be able to fill in every single day. And again, like it really discouraged me. And then I'd be like, this is a waste. Like I just spent $15 at Barnes and Nobles or Target buying this planner that I didn't even fully use. On top of that, because I am very picky about like the way that my things look, none of the themes that were out there really just worked for me and for what I wanted. So being able to have like a completely blank but still structured planner really helped me with productivity. It really helped me motivate myself for just writing in it and like getting stuff done. And I think it's a really cute thing that I've had for so long in my life that I don't even think about it twice. I just think that having a planner and being able to see your tasks visually is so important for a productive day. Even if your way of planning is just using your GCal or whatever online, notes app, reminders, whatever it is, it's still a great step into productivity. And for me, I think that it's also just because I try to make my planner a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. It's another way that I can kind of romanticize my routine and romanticize the rest of my day. Especially when you have it visually and you can see it in your head, you're more prepared. You're not second guessing your decisions or really having to think about your priorities of your day. Being able to have it all listed out and have everything be checked off one by one is so satisfying. But then again, you don't need anything fancy. You don't need anything expensive either. Since I know a lot of people, like my mom, they just need a simple notepad and a pen to write down their tasks to be able to see what they need to do. And they prefer it that way because there's no other distractions, it's just very clean, very neat, very minimalistic. So it's completely up to you and your preference, which again, is the whole bottom line of this routine. It's up to you. It's based off of you, and your routine does not need to look anything like anyone else's. Finally, if I have some extra time, I'll write in my journal a little bit how I'm feeling before officially locking in and getting some work done. Also, it has just been a great way of keeping track of my days, kind of just like a backlog. Anyways, yeah, that's my routine. How do we feel about that? It sounds very heavy and like a lot, but it's really not if you get into the groove of it. This is just honestly every single step broken down. And again, this was not a routine that I built in a day or even just a week. It has taken me so many weeks and at least a month to really solidify it. And even then, I have been doing these things for years, but just being able to have it all, condensed down to a certain time has been taking really long. Now, because my days are all pretty similar, I'm not going to school and I don't have varying class times, it has been a lot easier for me. And I've been kind of adding little things every single day or week to week, bi-weekly, depends on how you feel. Just little by little as I get into the groove of things. For example, the vitamins that I take, I used to be really bad at it. I would never take my vitamins in the morning. I would always take them scattered out through the day, or I just would completely forget about it. But after I was able to get my breakfast down, after I was able to get, stuff in my room down, it was something that I added because I had more time. And now it's something that's a staple into my routine. And don't be too hard on yourself. I think sometimes, especially when we're rushed and we're not actively thinking about it, we will forget to do things and we'll miss out. It doesn't really mean that you failed at anything. It just is a little learning lesson that you have to be a little bit more attentive when you're maybe in the kitchen, or be a little bit more focused when you're in the bathroom. And again, if you don't have a routine or are wanting to expand your routine to get more things done in the morning, you should just start small. Aiming to get ready before a certain time, or just making up your bed right away when you wake up. I've personally found that having these consistent things in life really helps you keep grounded and allows you to be more secure in yourself. I've also learned that the more you do your routine, the easier you will be able to gauge how long it takes, and then you'll be able to see when you need to wake up. And as you get into the hang of things, you start to get faster. And with this extra time, you can then either sleep in more, which is usually the option, or find other meaningful things to do in the morning. Again, mornings can be difficult, but it's up to you to make it easier. That's all I have for you guys today. If you like this episode, make sure to follow and rate Casual Bites wherever you're listening: Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, or Amazon Music, and send it to someone who might need to hear it. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok at Casual Bites. Thanks for taking small bites out of big thoughts with me. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.